Look at this video. This skyline was created using Lightfield Studio, an open source alternative to Postshot. That's right. If you've been using Postshot and you feel like you no longer can afford paying for this software, which I think you should if you need it professionally, there is alternatives, and Lightfield Studio is a very good one. You can make scenes just like I showed you at the start, and it's not very hard to use because it has a GUI, an executable, and all those things that you're used to using. Just has a little bit of a startup where you have to build the executable, but I'll walk you through that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about why you should use Lightfield Studio or how it works. We're just going to jump into this and just know that if you want a scene like you saw at the start, I'm going to show you the exact software that was used and how to get it running. And you'll find out that it's super simple once we get it built. Let's go. So I'm going to walk you through how to get started with Lightfield Studio. And of course, I have all these links in the video description, so you don't have to remember where I found these. I'm going to start with the website to the project where you can read about it if you want to dive in a little deeper than I had in my intro. And just know that when you start to go in here, if you've never used code, things like that, it might seem confusing, but that's why this video is here, and they have really good documentation. So of course I say join this Discord if you use Discord. It is a great resource. Other than that, to jump in, we're going to GitHub. So if you go to like get started, it's basically taking you to a GitHub page. Okay, so here is the GitHub page. And if you've never been on GitHub, this again will be kind of scary. I'm going to make this much larger on my screen. I'm going to walk you through what you need to know, what you can skip, but I guarantee this won't be that difficult for you. The first thing we need to look at is what we need for installation. So they have this installation wiki, which is really where we need to start. And then from here, this does work. This is like a multi-platform software. You can use Ubuntu, you can use Windows. I don't think you can use Mac at this point, but there have some things you'll need. You need Windows, of course, for this video. CMake. You'll need a compiler, which we'll get into, CUDA, libtorch, these different things you need. I'm going to walk you through installing all these, but the one thing you need absolutely is to have a good enough GPU. I recommend better than a 2060 Super. If you have an 8 GB 30 something, you should be in business. You can do bigger projects with more RAM. So if you have a newer one, it'll run faster, but we're just going to run it as today. I'm using an RTX 6000 ADA. Is way overkill for what the project I'm going to show you, but just kind of giving you that. So if you have a really old GPU, this might not work for you. Next, there's build instructions and usage. So basically, we're going to go through the Windows instructions. If you know what you're doing with Ubuntu and Docker, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. So they're going to have you install a few things. I already have these installed, but I'm going to show you what you need to do to have these installed. So the first thing is Visual Studio. You will just look up Visual Studio online for your computer. I don't know if you can even install the wrong version nowadays. Just make sure it's not Visual Studio Code. You want the full suite. So you're going to download Visual Studio. Again, I told you I already had this, but I can bring up the installer and you'll see what that looks like. Okay, so here is the Visual Studio installer. You will have nothing, or maybe you have one of these versions. But what really matters is if you install Visual Studio 2022, you'll have the community version. You will just make sure that you have a few options installed. And I'm going to show you what you need. You need at least this. It's called Desktop Development with C++. Make sure you have that. And then there's some other details down here. Some people need this MSVC version 142, but you shouldn't if you're using the newest version here. And this will take you a while. There's like 20 gigs. Going back to the build instructions. So once that's installed, you need to install the latest CUDA toolkit or 12.8 or newer. So actually, I do recommend using the version they call out here. The newest ones may have some issues because I sometimes run into that. So just Google it. If you already have CUDA toolkit 12. Something installed, make sure you reinstall the newer version because you have to do that after Visual Studio is installed. So if you go here, you're just going to pick Windows, the right version of Windows you have by now, the exe, and you're just going to download this. This is a basic installer. do all the defaults, just install, saying yes, yes. You don't want to do anything extra. Again, this might take a few minutes, not terribly too long compared to Visual Studio. Then you'll need Git. So again, we're going to type in Git. Git is basically software that pulls all of the code from GitHub. It's, again, super easy. You're going to download for Windows. You're going to install it. Make sure you just say yes to all the defaults because it should be set up for the basic usage you will care about. So again, just got to work our way through these and then follow instructions for Windows. So we've kind of worked through some of these, but I do want to go through a couple of these things first. This is just making sure you have the right things. If you look here, they tell you what these installers look like, which is helpful. I didn't go over CMake. You have to make sure you have the right version of CMake, but for you, I want to make sure you bring up command prompt by typing in CMD enter or just searching for command prompt, opening that up, and we're going to try each one of these. So CMake version. So I have 4.1. If it's nothing comes up, if you can't find it, then you can just go to CMake and download this. So again, this is actually pretty small installer. You go ahead, install CMake, and then run command again. Close out this window first, and then try running it, see if it works. The next thing is this NVCC version. This just makes sure you have the right CUDA toolkit. As you can see for me, I have 12.8. Perfect. Then Git. I have Git version 2.44. Perfect. So I'm good to go, essentially. You just want to make sure you have those right things. And then from there, we're gonna run the installation. First part of the instructions, which I should read. So just again, open up your start, type in x64, and then you should see this native tools command prompt for Visual Studio 2022. And then we just need to change our directory to our user profile. So you're not actually going to copy what they show there. You want whatever your user profile is. So if I bring up like my Windows, I have, if I go to like my C drive and you can go to users and you should have a non-public folder. That's your user folder. You can just go copy that and paste it in. So I'm just going to close that out. I should have a space. There we go. So now I'm working within my user folder. Again, that was C user JONAT for me. It'd be something else for you. But it should have this users before it and the name of your username. Then I'm just going to follow the way he does it. I wouldn't necessarily have set it up this way. Oh, it looks like all this exists. So I'm going to pause for a second and I'm just going to delete what I already have created. Okay, so you'll be running this make directories repo. Again, I had already ran this. That's why it said it already exists. You will not have that. So unless you already have a directory called repos, what you're doing is you're basically just creating a new folder. Then we're going to change directory into that. So now we're working within that repos folder. Think for repositories. And then we're going to set up a couple different repositories. Basically just copying the stuff one line at a time. Not difficult. If you can't do that, then good luck. But this is pretty easy. Trust me. So we're just what's called cloning data from some server with the information. So then we're going to change directory and we're going to basically install that. So there we go. Super simple. Then we want to clone. We're back in that repos folder and we want to clone the Lightfield Studio code. Doesn't mean it's installed. We're just downloading like the installer files. Then we're going to run these two guys. We're going to make sure we change directory in the Lightfield Studio and then get checkout, get the right version. Then I think you can just run all these three in a row, which will run all of these pretty easy. And then from here, we're going to basically download this really large zip. And then it's going to unzip it and then delete the zip file. That. And these are kind of large. So I'm not going to make you sit here and watch these. You will see that you can look at it. It says this is about 4 gigabytes almost. And time left takes a couple minutes. So I'm just going to fast forward till this is done. Okay, so that's all done. And then we're going to basically run this, which will unzip it and then delete it. So back here. Again, we're just running these lines one at a time. Not too tough. I'm going to get this one copied while that runs. It'll take just a second. Okay, it's done. Now I'm deleting that zip. And then we need to then download this next one. This one will also be, I believe, several gigabytes. So again, yeah, 3 gigabytes. I will fast forward till when this is done. Okay, so it's done. And last 2 lines is just to, we're going to unpack it and then delete it. So just copying that and then this last line. So from here, it's just unpacking that zip file and then we're going to delete it. Okay, so now it's going to hit this last one, which is delete. So again, that like del, let's delete. That's unzip. Pretty easy stuff. This last part will take a while. So now we're going to basically build the project. And you're just going to put this through here as is. And this is going to take a while. So I'm going to start it. And know that this might take 15, 20 minutes. All right, so everything has successfully compiled or got ready to build. This took, let's see here, configure time, 1,555 seconds. So this took many minutes. So we're going to run the last part. So this is basically turning all this code into an executable. So it should be easy to open in the future. This one gives you a little bit more of an idea how long it takes because it has like an add of 224 components it's got to build. As you see, it's moving along, but it will take more than just a few seconds. So I am going to fast forward to when this is done as well. So that part is complete. It actually only took me, I don't know, a couple minutes. But again, I have last year's Core i9 with 24 cores. So it went fast. But now you have this exe, which is what we're used to using when we have software. So basically, you know, at this point, we will have this executable, which if you go to your computer, you can find it. Let me just pull it up. So you go to my computer. I'm going to go to my home drive, my user drive, which have a repos folder and this Lightfield Studio. And there should be this exe somewhere in here. Usually there's a build folder like so. And then let's see if we can find it in here. Lightfield Studio exe right here. So click on that. And now we have a fully launchable executable. So that is really exciting. It worked. Again, this software is not the most beautiful software. This is engineered, built, really fast working software. And so we're going to start diving into this. Now you have it installed. The most difficult part of this is over because most people aren't used to doing that. But to be honest, that wasn't all that hard. So now we have this. We're like, how do I start training my data set? You know, you have this blank space. Well, that's going back to the instructions right here in usage. So we had build instructions. Now we have usage. Since the preferred way to use Lightfield Studio is import your data in a COLMAP format. So again, this is going to be a little bit of a runaround. They have 2 introduction videos. Go ahead and watch those, but I'll do my own in this one so you have an idea of what to be done. Basically there's an import once they're ready. But for this, let's go ahead and do the tutorial for using RealityCapture, because I think people have really good results. So let's just say you may have some good images, you may not. I'm going to start out with going to use this flower. So I'm going to do really small scenes. I should be start with a really big scene. Let's just do this really cool flower captured in Hawaii like a year and a half ago. It's a pretty cool data set. And I want really good images out of that. The easiest thing you can do is bring up your browser and type in Sharp Frames Extractor, I think it's called. And this is a browser-based tool to get Sharp Frames tool. Here we go. This will get you, and I'll link this again. This is the easiest way just to get some really good sharp frames out of it. So we're just going to go choose our video. Here we go. And then it says it's going to do 1,112 frames. I don't think we need that. Let's do like 2 frames per second instead of 10. Um, let's see if it updates that. This is a pretty easy thing. So we want JPEGs. Let's see how long this video was. I only probably need like 100. This is 37. So let's go for 3 frames per second. Or I guess 4, because I'm gonna pick out the sharp ones. Extract frames. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna try to find the sharpest ones. I may have done too little, but we'll see what we got here. So now this is batch size. You basically can leave a lot of this here, but we just want the sharpest frames out of this whole thing. So that's 149 frames analyzed, and we don't. It's only going to give us so many. So if I change this batch size, it'll give us more or less. I think I did this wrong. I think the best thing I should redo, let's just make this 10 frames and extract. And then we can just pick the best frames out of those 1,112. In the end, I only probably need what? 100, 200? Go 200 in this one. It'll train faster anyways. Okay, here we go. 371 frames analyzed. Number of frames to consider for each batch. 2. Let's try this. So if I grab this, it should be about half of them. And then it's going to download 124. Actually, we can make that more or less. So if I change this, notice that goes down and make it 108. That's basically every other frame. And I still don't think that's enough. So let's just go 124 frames. Let's make this really lightweight. It's going to download the zip. Like so. I'm just going to extract this. I'm going to put this in the Lightfield Studio folder. So I'm going to go to the repos folder that you download this in. So I mean my users, then there should be a repos subfolder, and then Lightfield Studio. And then I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it projects. And then in here, I'm going to create another folder. This can be flower. Like that folder, extract it to that folder. Now in flower, we have all these images. And if I kind of just scrub through them, you know, we got all these nice looking, fairly sharp photos of this flower. And this is going to work out great. Should train really quick. So then I need RealityCapture. If you don't already have that, you're going to need to install it. Now, it's really weird. I launch it through the Epic Games launcher. I have 1.5.1. We're going to launch that. And we're going to import a folder. Again, we're going to want that same place, that repos folder that we had. If you still have that up, you can just copy the location here and hit select folder, and it's going to bring all those images in. And then from here, we're going to run align images. Okay, didn't take too long. You can see it had all those images. They all should have registered just fine. You can see that light point cloud of the flower right there. Super simple. And then from here, we just need to export this in COLMAP, a COLMAP version. Okay, so now that's all aligned. We're just then go to, I believe, the workflow. We need to export this. So we're just going to go to that. We're just going to go to the export button here. And we want this COLMAP text format. I chose recently used. Yours might be a little bit further down, but you'll find it. COLMAP text format. I want to make sure I go back to that same folder I was in. And then here, I'm actually going to create a new subfolder called COLMAP. I'm going to call this COLMAP. Save. And then here, this is really small on your screen. I'll try to enlarge it. A couple things we want to change. We want to leave a lot of this as is. So we have the inner region, fit, 1, undistorted principal point, yes. And then max pixel counts. We're just going to limit this to 2 million pixels. So let's see here. That's 200,000. One more zero. That's 2 million pixels. Like so. Export images. Let's make that yes, because then it'll resize them for us. And then custom image path. Yes, let's just make sure that's the same place that we have up top. Okay. Now it should be done. Close. And now if I go back to this folder here, I should have a COLMAP folder with these exported images and then the data we need. The nice thing is now I can minimize that, close whatever windows I might have open, bring up the Lichtfeld Studio like so. And I should be able just to drag that COLMAP folder in, and notice your points are there, that flower's there, and then we can start training super easy. So I can go here and I can go change a few things. Again, the resolution on my screen is terrible, but trust me, I'll try to zoom in as I'm for editing this. A lot of this stuff you can leave as you want, but you can then change things. So like right now it's using the MC strategy, which is great for outside scenes. You can tell it to save at certain steps. It's going to save an output at 7,000 and 3,000. You can play around with all these. So like for now, let's just run a default and I'll see you when this is done. We can hit start training and it's going to start going. As you see, it'll already start optimizing. That flower's already looking cool. So see you guys in just a second when this thing has trained a lot further along. Timeout. If you found that the installation of Lightfield Studio was actually kind of interesting and want a better appreciation of what all that code was doing, then today's sponsor, Brilliant, is the perfect place to start your learning journey for programming. Brilliant helps you become a better thinker and problem solver with thousands of visual, interactive lessons in math, science, programming, data analysis, and AI. Brilliant is a learning app that is designed to be uniquely effective. Each lesson is filled with hands-on problem solving that lets you play with concepts, a method proven to be 6 times more effective than just watching lecture videos, because no one wants to just watch lecture videos. You'll be building understanding from ground up with a perfect mixture of engaging problems, competitive features, and daily encouragement that keeps you motivated and on track. I really do like that part, where you do daily little actions to really reinforce what you've learned. If you're wanting to learn programming like the code that drives Gaussian Splatting, Brilliant's growing collection of programming courses is a fantastic way to build problem-solving skills, which is essential to being a good programmer. From learning Python to developing an intuition for computer logic, you'll get hands-on experience with real programs and learn to think like a programmer. To start learning for free, go to brilliant.org/pixelreconstruct, scan the QR code on the screen, or click the link in the description below. Brilliant's also giving our viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant. Thanks again to today's sponsor, Brilliant, for making this video possible. So now let's get back to this tutorial and look at the results from Lichtfeld Studio. Okay, so this scene is almost trained, and while it's training, I just want to show you a couple things, some perhaps gotchas. When you're navigating, it feels a little counterintuitive. Dragging with my left click will just kind of pan up, down, left, right. Right click will let you, it's like a first person view. So you can look around. Sometimes things get a little skewed. And then you using your WAS keys is left, right, forward, backwards. And then Q goes up and E goes down. So you can kind of like work your way in, and look how good these results are looking on this. This is exceptional quality for a free software. I mean, 100 and something images. I know it's a really small scene, but this is looking really good. As it's processing, on the left here, it gives you some parameters. It tells you like how many splats it maxed out at, and how many iterations. It's almost done here. How much memory? So it's not using much memory on my computer. 12%, 6.7 gigabytes. So you can get 124 4K 1080p images just fine. One thing is not clear is where this is being saved. So if I hit save checkpoint, it'll save an extra checkpoint. And it doesn't tell you exactly where that's going. All right. But if I go to, you'll see in command prompt, it'll be showing you a bunch of information as it's going. Because we dragged these files in, it doesn't tell you where like that checkpoint's going. So if you hit save checkpoint, it'll read out where it's saved to. For me, it was in like my local data folder. So if I copy that, and I already pasted it, but it ended up here. So you can see it just finished that second splat. So I got this 30,000 splats file and this 7,000 splats file. I'm going to show you how to relaunch this and specify some things so you don't have to have it in your local data folder. But that's where it went. If you just want to be quick and easy, you can just play with it that way. Um, there's that. And a lot of these features are kind of like in development, things like that, but you can kind of look through here. You can look at your rendering here. You can, point cloud mode, cool things like that. You can really play around with different things in these settings and get to know this interface. But I'm going to show you how to go to command line and also show this a different way. So I'm even getting 60 frames per second in this thing. I mean, I have a really good GPU, but you can also crop your box here, things like that. So there's different things you can do. You can transform your data. I know when I first tried this would crash it, but I don't think you have to. Oh, it says hide system console. You want to show that. That's how you show what's going on. So there's this screen. So pretty easy. I did show you on the right. You can also pull up these different images, see what they look like. Your PLYs, you can load the different versions in, things like that. So pretty easy interface. But let's just see what that result looks like outside of here. So if I go here to Super Splat, and I can take this and I can drag this in. And there it is. Find that flower. Oh, the first thing I need to do is turn off that. There it is. And you can see you got that same awesome quality in Super Splat. And things are kind of like a weird rotation. You can fix your rotation. You could fix it here, or you could have fixed it in Lightfield Studio. So there's different things you could do. But that's how you run it. That's super simple. So that huge San Francisco skyline, that could have been done. This is really small, kind of inverse. I didn't use a ton of images, but it's super easy. Once you got it built, you just kind of get your images prepared and drag it in there. Super easy. But let's say we don't want to drag things in. I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to make sure I close Lightfield Studio. You want to save your changes? Sure, we'll save it. We'll save this to the flower project. Here, I'll create a test one. I'm just going to save it in here. Okay, now I've saved it. Everything kind of closed down, but I can then go and relaunch it from the command prompt or these native tools. Let's just pull up command prompt. That's probably what it'd be, so you don't have to pull up the build tools again. And then from here, you just want to change directories to your repos folder. Then it was the Lightfield Studio. Actually, change directory, Lightfield Studio. Like that. Now we're in that folder. And if we go back to the instructions here for usage, you can command line this. So start Lightfield Studio and use import dataset to load your dataset. There's this kind of like command line basics. So we can start here. It has .build. I don't know if we need to do that. We can give it a shot. And then these are all on separate lines. That's if you want to use Ubuntu, but we're using Windows. So let's put these all in one line and make your life a lot easier. So we're going to put this in here. Actually, I think we just need to go like that. And then we're going to go D, if that's our data folder. Easiest thing you can do is just drag your folder in. So I have this projects, flower, COLMAP. Let's give that a try. Our output. So, let's just make that. Let's make a new folder for that. So if I go here, let's call it test 2. Like so. We'll just drag that in so we don't have to mess up paths. Like that. And then there's these different modes we can do. So use MC with limited Gaussian. So this is maxing it at 500,000. We can max out 30,000 iterations. There's different things we can do. You can look at your command line options here. There's resize, strategy. Let's just try that. Let's try the default strategy. Let's just make up our own here. Strategy, default, that. Default's MC, but we're gonna use the default. And then let's see here. Enable evaluation during training. We don't need to do that. visualization. We can run headless. That means it's not going to launch the GUI. Then we can do these other things. So let's just do like bilateral grid. Oops, need to add a space after that. Well, let's give this a shot. I have a feeling, yeah, it's gonna give us an error. Okay, so I'm actually having problems here. I'm not infallible. I think the easiest thing we can do is just pull the exe. So if I come here, the Lightfield Studio, then we're gonna go find type L. We're gonna find the Lightfield Studio exe, drag that in there, and now let's give it a shot. There we go. So that's the easiest way. Is just throw that in the command line, and then it'll already have some of those options pre-filled out, and it'll have the right output. So there you go. It has the splats in there. I don't believe it automatically starts training. So we might have to go here. Yeah, hit start training. And now we're going to start training from scratch. And again, we're using the default, not the MC strategy. So it looks different how it trains. But that's how easy it is. And it'll start dumping all that data into that test folder, S2. So you can already see it created a projects folder, and it's already starting to train. So pretty easy, not hard to use. And then I can come in here and I can see this is COLMAP output here. You can look at your optimization, everything like that. And as you saw, you can see how you can add different things in there. It's using the bilateral grid. There's a GUT, some of these other things that you might have options to right now. You can get on Discord and ask how to use those if you're interested. Okay, so that is Lightfield Studio. Super easy to use. It is free. I don't think they'll ever make this paid because the creator wanted this to be an open source project where people can come, help iterate, and make it a better platform. It might seem really difficult to get going, but I guarantee once you've used it a couple times, you won't even think twice about how to get it running, and it's going to be super easy. And if you're looking for that alternative free Gaussian splatting platform, this is one I would really recommend starting to use because it's only getting better. I swear, like every week there is a new push and it's faster, better, and it's going to be, I think, the future for that open source community, this in Nerf Studio. So with that, if you found this helpful, please give this channel a subscribe and make sure that you keep up and see what new things I come out with, because I'm going to be jumping into Gaussian splatting, old foundation models, and a bunch of synthetic data generation content coming soon. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.